Welcome to Morning Chava. On this podcast, we are going to dive into fun, educational, and sometimes hard topics with individuals, experts, and storytellers. Our aim is to fill your day with something that gives you a little life. Chava literally means life, to give life, and we want to help empower you to live your best life no matter what leg of the journey you are on. Whether you're preparing for pregnancy, birth, or parenting, we hope to fill your cup with a little Chava for the journey. Grab your favorite drink, or if you're like me, 2 or 3, and join me for Morning Chava. You guys, that's my new intro.
I love it.
I am so excited about Morning Chava and to share this with you. As I mentioned before, Chava is something that I've been thinking about for over 6 months. So before we dive into that, this episode, I'm going to introduce you to Chava, tell you a little bit about it, and why I'm super excited about it. I am joined here by my husband, Vito.
Hello. Thank you for having me again.
You are so welcome. And we're going to talk about what we've been doing the last couple weeks, our holidays. We actually just got back from vacation in Mexico, and we have a lot to share there, give some tips for traveling with kids, talk on our family goals for the year, and then preparing our bodies to try to conceive, because that's something that is one of our goals this year. Right?
Yeah.
Get another bun in the oven.
Yeah. Maybe 2.
Oh.
Can you predict? Can you do anything to have twins?
You know what is so weird is a while ago on Instagram, I saw somebody commented on somebody's post. I don't even remember where I was. And they're like, you can take this herb. It'll help you get twins. Be careful. It's potent. And I'm like, I don't know.
What was the herb?
I don't even remember, but that would scare me.
I don't buy it.
But I wouldn't try it just in case.
I don't buy it.
Like, I'd be like, ooh, maybe I want twins. I could try it. But it's like, what if it misfires?
And we have like quadruplets.
I don't know.
You take too much.
Yeah, it might be way too much. So anyways, that was very interesting. You could potentially try. So I want to start by talking to you guys about how I came up with Morning Chava. It's actually, Chava is pronounced Chava. It's a Hebrew word. And I'm somebody who's always been really big on, I'm going to mispronounce it. What's the meaning of words? Etymology?
You're asking the wrong guy. I have no idea.
The meaning of words. I know I'm really big on it. So I heard this word a while ago, and it really resonated with me because of its origins in the Hebrew culture and because of my faith. And if you've been listening for a while or you followed me, you know that my faith's really important to me. I am a Christian, and coming from growing up Christian, you always hear the story of Adam and Eve in the garden and how Eve got tempted by the snake and then basically was like, caused Adam to sin. Well, what really happened, and I heard this over 6 months ago, and then I actually listened to this amazing message by this rabbi, which I can share in the notes in case anybody's a word nerd like me and likes deep diving into where these words came from in the Bible and what things really mean. You can listen to it as well. But God never told Eve not to eat of the fruit. He told Adam. So they're at the tree, the snake's tempting her, and Adam's just standing by doing nothing. And Eve's like, oh, I can eat this? Cool. And takes a bite and then gives it to Adam. He did nothing. So like, we're kind of taught that like women are the fall of man. Mm-hmm. And it's like, God never told Eve not to eat the fruit. She told Adam. And he sat by and did nothing.
Interesting.
Yeah. So we've been taught that Eve's cursed, right? And the Bible's like, you're going to be cursed and labor with pain. And even when you look up those words and the deep meaning of them, there's so much more there. Mm-hmm. So Chava is Hebrew, or Chava. Obviously, I don't have the perfect accent for this, but it means life. And it's the biblical form of Eve. And it means so much more than that. It's giving life, bringing life into this world, creating life, all of that. And I absolutely love that. Obviously, being a birthing doula, I love watching life come into this world. I think that our bodies are freaking amazing. And that just really spoke to me, especially again, if you've been listening, you've heard me talk about kind of growing up in that Christian culture and some of the shame I felt growing up being a woman. And it's like, we're completely free of that. Like, we are made to be life givers. We are, and it's not just with our bodies. You can choose to do that with your words.
Yeah.
You can choose to do that with our day. And that's like my hope for this podcast, is that we're filling ourselves up with a little bit of life.
Yeah.
And not things that aren't serving us.
Yeah. Well, there's so much out there that is draining, or there's so much out, especially in social media, where you're constantly comparing yourself and you don't really feel the best. I don't know a lot of people who feel great after scrolling on social media.
Right.
And there's so much out there about what's wrong, what's the problem with this, what's the problem with that. And I think this name fits you great. And you've definitely been coming back to it. And I think that's a cool story. I didn't know that story about Adam and Eve, but the fact that Eve, is the giver of life, and that's what that means, the Chava, the Chava, and the morning Chava, to start your day, or just it's a way to refresh, to start, and I do think that the people you have on and the people you have coming on, that you are very much a person who speaks life into people and does try to find the silver lining or the positive, or creating bridges instead of burning them, so I'm really excited. I think it's great. I like that you're excited about it.
Me too.
And that when you say you like watching birthing videos, it's literally all that you do.
I could.
I mean,
I don't, but I could.
Man, I've seen
and I
your
cry every time.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, because you don't really get on social media, and so I don't remember why. Like we've switched phones before or whatever, and you were looking at my Instagram, and there's times where you're like, man, there's a lot of weird stuff on there, and then you're like, oh, birth.
It's just birth. It's constant, and you're constantly looking at it. You're constantly like, how awesome is this? And you'll rant about it for hours. So it's very exciting it's awesome to meet someone like you. It's even cooler to marry someone like you, because you're very passionate.
Thanks.
About this subject. So I'm excited for you. I'm excited for the podcast. And
Yeah, me too. And I just want to let you guys know too that it's still going to be very similar content to Miraculous Mamas. There have been a few changes with me taking over my own production and everything of it as well. I am still going to be having some ads here and there, but kind of phasing out into a few other things. So really, really excited for the direction that it's going. The episodes coming up this year, I'm super pumped about. It's going to be really great content. We have an episode on pro-metabolic health. That approach is something that was completely different than anything that I've heard before, and I'm really excited for you to get something out of it. Stereotypes and misconceptions of being an only child, I think, is super interesting. What being fully nourished looks like as a female, and why culture has really impacted fertility, which I'm excited about, because growing up being told you need washboard abs in today's world, when you look back at the ancient days, what did all the fertility people look like? The fertility women, the fertility gods, what did fertility look like? It wasn't washboard abs. These women looked nourished. And that looks so different on different people's bodies. It doesn't mean some people naturally are more fit or muscle toned. So it's not a knock against that either. But our bodies are so different and so amazing. So I'm excited for that one as well. Diving back into organ meats. People loved the organ meats episode this last year. So bringing that background and talking more on it, elaborating into, I know we touched on fertility and stuff with it, but coming back to that and how you can even incorporate that more in your life, and how to help set up our kids' gut microbiomes. That's an episode I'm really excited about.
Which you're very passionate about.
Well, yeah, and this episode's recorded, and I'm really excited to share it with you, because I love that stuff and can nerd out on that all the time as well. And spending more time outside. There's this book called 500 Hours. And my cousin actually did it last year. She spent 500 hours outside with her kids. So when you break that down, that's an hour and a half a day. And so it went, and she lives in North Dakota. Or South Dakota. So it's super interesting because of just even the health benefits and getting our kids outside and stuff like that. So I'm really excited to dive into that. And then I'm really excited about talking more about birth plans, what I'm passionate about, sharing more doula information with you, and the importance I find in birthing plans and some of that stuff. Because it's super interesting. Vito hears me vent about this stuff all the time, but being a birthing doula, I feel like certain people go out of their way to share with me different details, whether it's, no, I'm not going to do this thing, but then they do it anyways, or like, oh, I know you're a doula, so I'm going to make sure that I tell you, yeah, I'm, my doctor's amazing. I'm just going to do whatever they tell me, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, cool, I didn't ask. But also really talking about how we can have good birthing experiences and how doulas really are supposed to be bridging gaps. And between your doctors are very smart people, obviously, and I think have very good intentions. But there's also the research and the numbers and the data that is telling us something different than what our culture is doing. So how can we bridge those gaps? We're all on your team. Your job's to be informed. So bringing some of that information, because I want every single person listening to this podcast to have the best birthing experience that you can. It doesn't mean it's going to go the way perfectly that you want, but that you advocated, that you felt empowered, that you were heard, that you felt educated throughout the process. So I want to be sharing more of that information with you. Super excited.
I'm excited.
Vito's like, yeah, cool.
Just listening to you talk about it. I don't even know half the things you said, but I'm excited.
Yeah, but you hear me talk about this stuff all the time too.
And I'll be honest, can I say it?
Whatever.
It's very sexy.
Oh, thanks, babe.
Yeah, when you're passionate, I'm like, okay.
I was like, wait, I thought you were going to say annoying.
I kind of stop listening, and I'm like, God, she's so sexy.
Well, it's nice. I feel like it took me a long time to figure out my passion. And you and I have chatted about this a lot before, and we talked about it on the long haul before about how you're kind of told like you have a purpose, you have this, and it's like, I remember from 15 to 30 being like, what's my purpose? What's my purpose? But I don't think that there's like specific. I think, yes, you can have a certain purpose and calling, but it's like, what are you passionate about? What do you enjoy doing? And if you can make money that way, great. But if not, then how can you live your life to where you get to enjoy these things? And it took me a while to circle back to being a doula. I did it a long time ago and then came into it and then really started diving into it and being like, holy crap, I am really passionate about it. So I need to throw myself into it. So I do. You know, I get on my birthing pedestals.
Yeah.
Daily.
Yeah, daily. Daily, yes.
I'm glad you find it sexy, though. I thought you were going to say annoying.
No.
Because there are times where you're like, yes, I know. I've heard it before.
No, that's more with like the toxin stuff. Like,
with me being like,
it.
Actually.
Right, I get it. Like everything is toxic. I get it. But with the birth stuff, it's nice.
Okay, so before we dive too much into today's episode, I want to share with you the skincare brand that I have been using now for months and I'm obsessed with, and I've shared it with you on here before, and that is Dime Beauty. And I want to thank Dime Beauty for sponsoring this podcast, and I want to share with you why you need to try these products ASAP. There's a few points here that I need to share with you. First of all, my skin feels and looks amazing. I absolutely love how moisturizing the products are, but it doesn't feel heavy. You feel refreshed, rejuvenated, renewed using them. Second, the big reason that I was drawn to them is that all of their ingredients fall between a 1 and a 3 on the EWG toxicity scale, which is a must for me. You know, we talk about lowering toxins in our home and trying to find clean products, and clean beauty is one of those switches that I encourage everybody to make, and Dime Beauty fit the criteria that I was looking for in a skincare brand for myself. And then it's affordable luxury. It's like, you feel luxurious using these products and you're not absolutely breaking the bank. And that can be really hard to find something that fits into all of these categories. I know I had been looking for a while and I'd actually been wanting to try Dime, and I don't know why I put it off so long, because once I started using them, I was in love. All the products that I'm using right now you can find in the Works bundle. I use the Gentle Jelly Cleanser, the Super Skin Toner, and then the Hyper Glow, and the hyaluronic acid serum, the restorative night cream, and the dewy day cream. So I use the serums before I put on the moisturizers. The dewy day cream is amazing. I like to just put a dot of my foundation and mix it with the cream and put it on my face, and that's all I wear for the day. And again, it's moisturizing and light, so it is a must. So make sure that you guys try out these products and that you use my code MAMAS20 for 20% off your entire order. And remember that Dime also provides free shipping on orders over $49. If you have not tried Dime Beauty yet, make sure that you do so. All right, back to this episode. So I did take a couple weeks off social media and from the podcast, and we went on vacation.
Yeah.
What was that?
No, it was great. So it was our first time traveling with a 2-year-old and a 1-year-old, and we went to Mexico, and the weather was perfect. Perfect.
Yeah.
It was like 85. It wasn't too hot. It wasn't
85
muggy.
in the day and like 75 at night.
You didn't even need like a long sleeve shirt. You could have worn one if you wanted it. No wind, no rain. I mean, it was perfect. It was beautiful. It was so eventful with the amount of hiccups, let's call them, that it started off where my whole family went, right? Like it was like a family trip. Somehow we ended up not on the same flight as anybody else, at a different time on a totally different airline. And then so we're like, all right, this kind of sucks. Like we could use the hand.
Right, because Tula's in this stage where she's all over the place. She's such a happy-go-lucky baby, but
squirmy.
she wants to get into everything. She wants to talk to everyone. She wants to be everywhere. So like if we could hand her off to the other family members on the plane,
right,
that would be nice.
It'd be fantastic. So we didn't have that.
And we weren't even sitting in the same row.
Yeah, and then I check in. So I'm like, okay, well, whatever. We'll check in. And it's like I'm in the middle of the plane with our youngest, and you're and with both of them, I think, because our youngest was the lap one. And you're in like the back of the plane. And I'm like, okay. Well, we're flying Frontier, and you have to pay any seat that you want to have. And it was like $40, but there wasn't an option to sit together. So we didn't even sit by each other. We ended up getting closer. Like you were behind me, one row behind me. But so we weren't even sitting next to each other. And
well, the lady, we're like, is there anything you can do? And she's like, you can ask the people in your row to change seats.
Yeah.
We're like, okay, thanks.
Yeah. And then so every family that was on there was split up somehow. So nobody wanted to switch seats, or like everyone was trying to figure out how to switch seats, and we couldn't make it work.
Like a few people did, but like the guy sitting next to you, his grandpa was across the aisle from him.
Right.
So he wanted to move back a row.
Right.
To the window.
Right. Exactly.
And the people next to me were the one on the end. He wanted the aisle seat.
Yeah.
So it was just, we did ask, we tried to work it out, whatever.
So whatever. So that's the hiccup, right? Not on the same flight, not at the same airline, not at the same time. Didn't sit by each other. Not a big deal. It's just funny. It was just funny. And then we get to the hotel, and we're going to our room, and we're on the second floor. The third floor, and the elevator's broken. So all week I was carrying the stroller up and down the stairs.
We'd like get the girls out. I'd carry the girls down the stairs.
Right.
Or yeah, it was.
So we're just laughing. We're just kind of like rolling our eyes, like, what is going on? You know, not bad things, but just kind of eventful. And it didn't work the whole week.
Right.
The whole week.
Right.
And then so I had a full blown cold because we had your family in for Christmas, and everybody came with a cold. So and it blew through our family except for me until the day before we left. So then like the second day, I lost my voice. I had a cold. I had no voice. Miserable. Like, I couldn't communicate. I couldn't contribute to the conversation. I couldn't.
You were like, I'm done talking.
Yeah. And for me, I love to talk. And it just kind of, that sucked.
But despite you having a cold, so the first couple days we sat in one area by the pool, and like every 20 minutes somebody would slip and fall and completely wipe out, completely eat it.
Yeah, bad. Like to the point where it wasn't funny. It was
to the point where
dangerous.
you went and got chairs and like blockaded it, and you found a caution sign and like set it there.
Yeah.
Because, and then there was like an elderly couple walking by, and Carrie was like, it's really slippery, guys. It's like trying to guide them, because she's like, I do not want these people to fall.
No.
And it was crazy the amount of people wiping out, and there wasn't one worker that came by to like squeegee the deck or put a rug there or anything.
Do something. Yeah, that was I usually laugh when people fall. I think it's hilarious. I don't know why people
I do
falling,
too. I can't help it. But these were not. Like, I was
funny.
concerned like every single time, because it's hard concrete
and not
wet,
like
and people are feet out from under them and like body slamming.
Yeah, it sounds funny,
but it's not. It wasn't.
And it wasn't like people were running or anything. Just walking.
Yeah.
And then even the workers would have like a tray full of food or drinks completely everywhere. And you would think that would spark like, hey, we need to fix this, but it didn't. But luckily, none of us fell or hurt ourselves, which was we moved from that spot, which was good.
Yeah.
But then day 3, yours truly, my love.
I think it was like day 4.
Day 4,
probably
got food poisoning.
Got food poisoning.
So we're by the pool. We go to the buffet, get some lunch. It was like an all-inclusive, whatever. And then you're sitting there. You're like, I'm going to go back to the room. I don't feel too good. So I was like, all right, whatever.
What's weird, though, that morning my stomach felt off. But I think I had told you, like, my poop had been weird or something. And then I ate lunch. And then it was a little bit after that, I'm like, man, I really feel off. And to the point where I'm like, I'm going to go to the room.
Yeah, you're like, I'm going to go put Tula down and just, I don't feel well. I'm going to go to the room. And then it was later that night, right?
A few hours later, you would come back to the room. And I think I was showering or something, and then Tula was sleeping. And a little bit later,
it was just
started coming
not
up.
good. Not good. For like a full day. And then...
but then after that, like after everything exited me that needed to, my stomach was still really cramping and bothering me, and I was really nauseous for like another full day.
Yeah.
And then the day after that, I could like eat, but I would cramp up a little bit, and then the nausea finally went away. So then our last day there was like the first full day that I felt better.
Yeah, where neither of us were sick.
Right. And we were there for like 7 days, and I missed like 3 of them.
Yeah. It was so funny. And then, so I think on the second night you were sick, so I woke up in the middle of the night like in a panic. And I like was checking the patio. I was checking the door. I'm like, what is going on? Like something's going on. I was like, having really bad thoughts like that. And we were towards the end of the resort.
We were the last room.
We were the last room, right?
Basically.
Where like an outsider could get in or something from the beach. And we were close to the beach. So it was like 1 a.m. I had very irrational thoughts. I was like, oh my God, the cartel is going to come take over the hotel. They're going to kill everybody. Because I woke up in a panic. It was really weird. Yeah. And I remember telling you in the morning, like, man, I just had really bad thoughts last night. I didn't really sleep that well. And I could have sworn I heard people like in the halls, like late, even like 2, 3 in the morning. And I heard like rustling outside. I'm like, I'm not dreaming this. I heard this. And then so I tell you this, and then I go down with the girls, and there's like 4 security guards right at the bottom of our stairs, and they're like, they look really serious. And I don't speak Spanish, but I was like, something's going on. Like I knew something was going on. Yeah. So I was like, oh man, it was bothering me all day. And then we came back to the room later that night, and they started building this, like, they were bringing in semis of just steel. And I'm like, what the heck is going on? So I was like, okay, clearly we're not going to get overthrown. Clearly it wasn't like violence that was occurring. Like they're building something. So then the last 3 days, right outside our room, they're building this huge...
It's called Crash My Playa.
Whatever. It's for Luke Bryant.
It's like a country music festival.
They're building a whole festival.
A whole festival.
So like
right outside our room.
Yeah, we couldn't even like walk out of our room to go
to the beach.
Yeah,
we had to like
to the
walk
pool
down
even.
and then over. Yeah.
Because they were building this massive stage that was literally taller than the hotel, And we were just laughing like this is a crazy vacation. It was just super eventful. Things you would never, never think of. And then what else happened? On the way home, was there anything else that happened on the
Oh my goodness. So when I was super sick, I was drinking chicken broth and tea, and I ordered tea.
Oh my God.
At like 6 p.m. And the guy comes, well, he brought soup and tea and then
the hot water
for the tea. But he was like, the tea bag flew away. I'll bring you a new one. I'm like, okay. Doesn't come back. And I'm like, okay, obviously he forgot. I'm going to just forget it.
Right.
Knocks on our door at 11 p.m.
We were all sleeping. The kid, and he's pounding on the door. And this was a 5-star resort. Well, supposedly a 5-star resort. And he's pounding. And I'm like, who the hell? Like, so I look through the eye hole, and it's him. He's got no water, and he's got
a tea bag. Okay, first of all, that hot water you brought me 5 hours ago is cold. And then he calls the room because we don't answer the door.
Right.
Is that what you did?
Yeah, because I was, if I would have answered the door, we would have gotten kicked out. I'm like, what are you doing?
But when I answered the phone, he's like, I have your tea. I go, we're sleeping. And he's like, okay. And I just hung up. I'm like, what is happening?
I completely forgot about that. I couldn't believe that he would even think. Yeah, and no new hot water, just like a tea bag. That's not going to brew. The hot water's gone. Oh, yeah. That's funny. Yeah, so then we left, whatever. It was a nice trip. I got a nice tan. You got some tan lines. It was good. It was good. I liked it. And then we're flying home. It's delayed because the crew is like on a different flight. That flight's delayed, so we're waiting on the crew. And so we're flying. It's fine. Jovi craps her pants. So being an amazing husband, I go to the front of the plane, and it's actually kind of convenient to change a diaper on those. It's a small room, but the thing that folds down, it worked out pretty good. And then the flight attendant gave me a bag, and she's like, "Can you please wrap this in the garbage bag and then throw it in the garbage in the bathroom?" So I did that. And then we got back to the seat, and then she was just ripping farts that smelled like she was pooping.
Right.
So it was so
We're like
bad.
smelling Tula and Jovi's diet like butts the whole time.
Oh man, it was so bad. But then so we're flying, everything's fine, and they're like, "Okay, we're gonna prepare for landing." And Jovi does not want to be buckled in her seat. And she hasn't napped all day. And it's been a lot of traveling. Woke up early. She throws the biggest fit.
Tantrum like we've ever seen in our life.
Never seen it. Blood, as if it had to have been traumatic for her. Because the way she was screaming was like inconsolable. She's tired. The way I describe it is she blacked out and was just like screaming. Mm-hmm. And didn't stop. Mm-hmm. And then I was like, she wanted to sit on your lap or something. So you just basically just hugged her. You leaned over and hugged her, and then she passed out after 30 minutes of screaming.
Like, out.
Yeah. And while that was happening, some guy in the back of the plane
something happened.
Had a heart attack, was seizing, something, because then they were screaming over the PA over Jovi screaming. So this guy is like trying to be louder than our baby. That is so unbelievably loud. And we get to the airport. There's ambulance waiting. Right.
Well, they announced they're like everyone has to stay in their seats because the medics. This guy has to get off. The medics have to get him. So everyone has to stay seated. Yeah, so they got off first.
And then the pilot goes that he said that the plane is back heavy, meaning that our luggage shifted so much during the flight that the back 10 rows had to exit first, or else the plane, like if the front of the plane would have exited first, we could have tipped back. We could have done like a wheelie. I don't know. And I was thinking like, that's a way planes go down, is that the cargo on the bottom shifts too much to the back, and then the plane can't balance itself out. So we for sure dodged a bullet. And then so I'm just like, get me off this plane, get me home. Let's just end this. Like, it was a nice vacation, all things considered, but it's too much for me. It's supposed to be nothing, right? Mm-hmm. Vacation. And then the stewardess is like, all right, your baggage claim is gonna be baggage 1. And then the baggage guy runs in. He's like, listen, He's like, we're under construction, so we have 30 flights for 5 baggage claims. So he's like, expect delays.
Oh my gosh, I know.
Right? That's 6 flights per carousel thing.
Right. But luckily, yeah, we got out and our luggage was right there.
It was the first one. Yeah, luckily. Thank God.
Super easy. So, yeah, despite all of that, it was good. So we're going to share some traveling tips that we did learn. But before we do that, I'm going to share an ad with you about something that makes our life a little bit more convenient. All right, I'm going to share something that makes our life a little bit easier, and that is Green Chef. You all know that I really love to nourish our family. I love to cook, meal plan, but sometimes as the primary caretaker in the home, there's just a decision overload all day long. So at the end of the day, the last decision I want to make is, what am I making for dinner? Do I have everything that I need? I forgot this one ingredient. Like, I can't tell you how many times I've gone to make dinner. I'm like, oh my gosh, I forgot this one thing. And you can sometimes work around it, but it's what lightens the load for me is just having a few meals a week delivered, so I don't have to think about it. I don't have to plan or prep, and I know that I'm getting something delicious that's going to nourish my family. And something that I love about them too is that you can they cater to like so many different lifestyles. So whether you're keto, paleo, vegan, vegetarian, gluten-free, or just looking to add some flavor to your life, Green Chef offers a range of recipes that can suit your preferences. They also feature organic produce, premium proteins, and sustainably sourced ingredients. And they also are the only meal kit that is both carbon and plastic offset. They offset 100% of their carbon footprint as well as 100% of the plastic in every single box, which is amazing. So one of the recipes that I absolutely love, they have this kale chicken poppy seed dressing salad that is so delicious. And I really just made that for myself, not my family. It was really good. And I ate it for dinner one night and lunch the next day, and it was so delicious. And that's one that I'm definitely going to repeat and use again. I also love their soups. It's really cold here in Chicago right now, and those recipes are just really easy for me to throw into a pot. Everything I need for it comes in the package. So it's right there. I can throw it together, let it simmer, and we are good to go. So I love that they're making my life easier, that they're delicious, and I don't have to think about meals for my family, but I also know that I am still nourishing them. So go to greenchef.com/mamas60 and use code mamas60 to get 60% off plus free shipping. That's greenchef.com/mamas60 and use code mamas60 to get 60% off plus free shipping. All right, back to the episode. Okay, so we're definitely not experts, but I do think that we learned some stuff along the way with traveling with kids. And I'm just going to say it, snacks are key.
You need an unbelievable amount of snacks.
An unbelievable amount of snacks.
A well-fed kid is a quiet kid.
I'd say an
Usually.
eating kid. An
eating kid, sure, yeah.
As long as they're stuffing their face with something.
Oh my goodness, the amount of snacks. And then you have to have like a variety. You can't just have crackers or something.
Right. And I mean, we kept a bunch in our room as well.
Mm-hmm.
I tried to limit those. I'm like, let's just eat real food because we got to bring stuff home with us for the plane.
Right.
But for us, Joey loves bars. We like
granola
that
bars.
Made Good brand. They're granola balls, they're bars, fruit. We got stopped coming into Mexico because we had a banana in our bag.
Yeah, she took
a dog sniffed us out.
Yeah.
She's like, do you have food in your bag? I'm like, I don't think so. She's like, fruit. And I'm like, oh, there is. Yeah. And she's like, yeah, you got to take that out. I'm like, oh, my bad.
That dog's a total snitch.
I know. So snacks are huge. And beverage, drinks. Making sure that they have water, things like that, because those flight attendants hardly ever come by. So if you're waiting for them to bring you something.
Oh, what is that? What is that top?
I don't know what it's called, but we got this screw on.
It's like it's a water bottle cap, but instead of a cap, it's like a Gatorade sippy thing, or like a sippy cup,
like a
sippy
almost.
cup cap.
that you can put on, like, screw onto a water bottle so they drink out of it really easily.
That thing was a lifesaver.
Yeah, for sure. Toys. So I'd say the biggest toy, I wish I would have wrote the name of this down. The biggest toy that helped us was that suction thing.
There's a suction cup. Yeah, you definitely should have Googled it.
I actually am going to Google it right now.
You can suction it. We were suctioning it to like the tray table or the seat in front of us or the wall of the airplane, the windows of the airplane.
The one I have here, it doesn't have to be this brand, but they're called Squigs. This one's by Fat Brain Toys, Squigs. So they're just like these suction cup builders, and they're different shapes. And we were suctioning them into the windows, to the tray table, to whatever. And then in our hotel room, to occupy Tula, I'd suction them to the floor, to the side of the tub. Like, we had them in the shower, on the floor, in the bathtub, like everywhere.
Yeah.
To try to entertain Tula, because she like constantly has to be doing something. But both of our girls like playing with them. It would occupy them for a while. I took them to the pool one day. They could have used them there. But that was like one toy that really helped us. Books.
Yes. We brought a couple.
Yeah, Tula, I did one for a while with her. I feel like she was copying me because it was a farmer book. And I'm like, the sheep says ba. And she would stare at my mouth. And then she's like, ba, ba. But she says ba, ba. So that's like easy for her. But she was like, ba, like copying me.
Cool.
And it sounds like sometimes she tries to copy your words. And my dad was saying that earlier today too. He's like, sometimes I feel like she's trying to say what I'm saying. I'm like, I think she does. Like sometimes I feel like I've heard her say hi.
Oh, I haven't heard that.
I'm like, are you saying
that would be pretty
right
cool.
Now? So books is good. We have that little pad that you can draw on and then erase it.
It's like a modern Etch-a-Sketch.
Yeah.
Right? Like you can use a pen or even like your fingernail and color comes up and then you press a button and it goes back to black. Which that was nice.
We did have the iPad for Jovi with a couple movies on it. On the way there, she didn't really use it.
Because you have to use headphones, and she didn't know how to use the headphones.
Yeah.
And they didn't fit her that well. And so she was not a fan. We had to definitely do a lot of improvising there. Because I was like, hopefully she just glues herself to the iPad and we can go forward with our lives. And
well, because she doesn't get to use like a lot of iPads, so we're like, oh, cool. She'd be like, I just get to sit here and watch movies.
Yeah, I thought she would have been like, oh, what a treat. Yeah, because we don't really use the iPad here. And then no, she was like, give me something, entertain me.
Yeah, that one thing's just called a electronic doodle board, reusable electronic doodle board. So it's just like a drawing pad for kids
or adults. I liked using it.
It was fun, yeah. And then I'm trying to think. She also had a book where there's a pen filled with water that when you color, the things appear and then they disappear. But I would say that snacks were the biggest thing as far as plane and stuff like that. Once we were actually there, the things that we've always traveled with that we always love is the slumber pod that blacks out over a pack and play. So Tula slept in there, and then our traveling sound machine. So those go with us on every trip that we've gone on, every road trip.
You need to get Slumber Pod to sponsor you because that thing, I can't speak highly enough about that thing. I mean, it because you can put her down, and it is pitch black in there. It's vented. Right. You can put fans in there, whatever, if it's too hot or whatever it may be, and then you can have every light on in the room. And go about your day, or if it's midday or whatever. I mean, it's big, you know. To carry it on is small. It collapses very easily.
Right.
But if you have it goes right over a regular pack and play. Or crib.
I definitely think that I'm pretty frugal with stuff. On Amazon, it's $180. I think it's worth the investment.
Yeah.
But you can also look on Facebook Marketplace and things like that as well to find it because
it's $180.
Yeah.
I mean, they know what they got.
Well, yeah, the other ones on here look pretty
It's
crazy.
literally 3 pieces, but I mean, they know what they got. That's
I mean,
that's a
we've
fair
used
price.
it. We've taken it like
Everywhere.
everywhere, and it makes such a difference because we're all in a hotel room.
Mhm.
It you just described how it works, but you don't have to like be like, oh, am I letting too much light on? You can watch TV, whatever.
everything.
It's easy. So that really, really helped us. We are definitely not experts, but snacks, traveling sound machine, slumber pod, and just a couple of toys and whatever distractions that you can use.
Yeah.
And there was also
Can
something.
I add something?
Yeah.
A video camera.
Oh yeah.
So we bought it wasn't a crappy video camera, but it's not like a
Top of the line.
Yeah. And it's so much nicer to record video because then you're not like with a camera on your phone, you're constantly like right when you stop the video, you're somehow on Instagram or you're somehow looking at something else, looking at text messages. With the video camera, it kept us so present and so there. And it was easy to just like we brought it everywhere with us. It wasn't bulky.
Yeah, it was really
We
just a
took
really
it out.
small.
Yeah, and then you're like talking. You're like, "Hey, how old are you? What did we do today? Whatever." It
was way more fun to me to record videos on there versus on my phone because I'm like, on our phone, like, what are the chances in 20 years that Jovi's going to see all these videos on my phone?
Right.
What are the chances she's going to watch this video from the video camera? Much higher.
You have to be very intentional after like every day to create a new album and to put that album together and whatever.
Yeah,
but with the
phone,
video camera, I don't know, it's just fun. I don't know if it was nostalgic, but it definitely kept us more present because then we weren't like once we closed it, it was closed. Like what are you gonna do with? There's no features. You just record, stop,
right,
and then you put it down, and then so I would say that.
Yeah,
I think ours was what, $200?
Yeah.
I would say that. I think it's worth it.
It's our Christmas gift to ourselves.
Yeah, that it was. Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm really glad that we got that because I want to take it definitely on more things and create those memories on there. So let's chat before we dive into preparing our bodies for trying to conceive. Just some family goals for the new year.
Yeah.
I feel like the new year for me, the holidays were so crazy. Coming into the new year didn't really seem that significant. Usually I'm not big at like setting resolutions, but in the past I've thought of a word and tried to be intentional. I'm like, I'm really going to focus on this word or whatever. And this year, nothing was even a thought in my mind.
Yeah.
But now that like we're home from our trip and settling, I'm like, okay, what do we want to do this year? As a family, besides make another baby.
Yeah, or like our motto or whatever it is. And we've talked about it. I feel like we always talk about it. And we try to be very intentional about like how we are as parents, how we are as spouses. Am I doing good? Are you feeling heard? Are you feeling satisfied?
Sexual.
In a lot of ways. And I think that our, like, what would the 2023 year be would be, if you could break it down into one phrase, I think it would be, I can do hard things.
Yeah.
I think if we're going to try for baby number 3, if, you're working on online courses and products, are you going to cry?
No, I'm just like trying to tell myself I can do hard things.
You look like you're going to cry.
I kind of feel like I'm going to cry.
Why?
I don't know. I struggle with this a lot.
Yeah. And right. You used to.
Okay.
Right. You used to. And all that is self-talk. And this is a lot of what I do with my clients, the guys I work with, is self-talk. And everybody deals with it.
Right.
But self-talk is, if you can find a way to manage it, if you can find a way or partner with somebody to help you manage self-talk and create positive self-talk, man, I mean, so much changes. So much changes. And the idea, the belief that I can do hard things, if you can repeat that to yourself, if you can every morning wake up and just tell yourself that, or put it on your mirror, whatever it is. For us,
yeah,
this
we
is
need
what
to
we're
get
doing.
It visually somewhere.
Right, everywhere.
House.
I
Yeah.
can do hard things. then when you go to do something hard and you're like, I can't do it, or I'm just like, you personally, I'm looking at you in your eyes.
Yeah.
You have a lot of, and because parenting is difficult, I'm not saying it's not, it becomes more difficult with poor self-talk. And I hear a lot of, and we were just kind of grew up different, but I hear a lot of like, it's too much or too difficult, or I can't do it, or I'm behind, I can never catch up. You say these things a lot, and they might be true right now, but it doesn't help to say those things, right? It might help to vent, but when it's a constant daily thing, well, then we need to change that belief, because a belief is just a belief, and it could help you. You know, if you believe there, how many success stories do you see where people were like, I just believe that I could do this. I believe that I could be this person. I believe that I could, whatever, change my life. And that belief is what drove them to do it.
Yeah.
So the belief that we're going to take on this year is the belief that I can do hard things.
Yeah.
And that'll be for our girls as they learn how to swim, and as they learn how to walk and communicate and manage their emotions, as they start whatever they start. And that'll be with you doing all the things that you're going to do. That'll be with me for any life changes I have.
Right.
That'll be for us for starting a family, to try to conceive and hopefully, God willing, have another baby.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I think I can do hard things is a very powerful statement.
We heard it from our daughter's swim instructor.
I know. She would tell Jovi, say, I can do hard things. And Jovi would say, I can do hard things. She'd repeat after her.
And it's like, yes.
Yeah. It was so good.
Yeah.
Shout out to Miss Jamie.
And Miss Jamie's the best.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely think we need to visually have it out there. And everybody has self-doubt. Everybody has that. And everything that you said is really good. Kind of navigating into the preparing our bodies to try to conceive, I think like that with me going into that, I'm definitely super nervous because of the past miscarriages. So I don't want to go through that again, but it's completely out of my control. I'm going to do what I can control, but that doesn't mean it's not going to happen, because we are making some health changes or whatever, but there's still unexplained miscarriage, especially at the stage that I usually have it, earlier, first trimester. You don't really ever have an answer to why. Since I'm seemingly healthy, there's no like known thing going on that can be like, oh yeah, this could lead to miscarriage or whatever. So that's hard, because you know how I get with wanting to control what our family consumes, and with all these different things. It's like, okay, I want to know how we're nourishing ourselves, what toxins are in our house, like whatever it is. There's so much out of our control. So I'm like, okay, what can I control? But then this is something that is completely out of my control at some point.
Yeah.
So I'm scared.
Yeah. And it makes sense that you would be. I mean, having gone what you went through and having 2 miscarriages, it's
or even like, because we've been successful, every time we've tried, we got pregnant, and then we had 2 miscarriages. But what if we don't this time? There's so much out of your control, which is why a big part of getting our preparing our bodies to try to conceive is also working on our relationship and our sex life, and not making it about conception. I think that that's really important. That we have fun together and we laugh together, and that it's not just timed sex to conceive.
Yeah.
You had mentioned earlier, like, are you being seen? Are you being heard? And I think one of the major good contributors or big contributors to our sex life is that we can have good communication, as far as, that when I am feeling overwhelmed, and let's say I'm trying to put the kids down and the kitchen's a disaster, you clean it without me having to ask. And that takes such a huge weight off of me. And then I'm down to clown. You know?
Down to clown?
But if I
let's never use that phrase again.
Okay. But if I came downstairs and I'm like, man, I still have to do this, it feels overwhelming sometimes. So you just help out so much. I feel so blessed. My voice is like cracking. I feel so blessed by you as a partner that it's easy. I feel like it's easy for me to give of myself.
Well, thank you. But not to change the subject. So you were talking about that, how to make, sex not a chore or like a task to get pregnant. I don't know if you had an episode about this or you were talking about it recently, how when people eat dessert, let's say, if they eat it, you talk about it.
Yeah. The science is there, which I've talked about on this podcast before too. So if I'm consuming a dessert and the whole time I'm thinking I shouldn't be eating this, I'm going to have to run so much tomorrow, I got to do this, I'm putting my body into fight or flight mode, and it's actually storing and digesting that differently than if I were like, ooh, this is really good. Wow, I love chocolate. This is delicious. This is satisfying my sweet tooth right now. And I'm just letting myself enjoy it. There's more a chemical difference. Yeah. Yeah. And you actually digest and store it differently.
Yeah.
Which is why I told Carrie, I'm convinced she's so skinny because all she does is drink Coke and she just loves it.
She enjoys every can of it.
But that makes sense because
it
can definitely be the same.
You hear stories all the time where people are like, we've been trying for so long, and then we just stop trying, and then boom. And I wonder if there's a correlation there.
There definitely can be. Stress is a huge correlation, and you can't tell people just don't stress about it.
Right.
Because there's so many things that go into that stress response, which is something that I'm working on.
Yeah.
Like staring at my phone before bed puts your body into a stressful state and you're not getting as much rest. That can impact your fertility. You should be getting away from screens a couple hours before sleep. You should be getting to bed by 10 o'clock at night. Between like 10 and 6 are those important times to be sleeping. And those types of things can help with stress.
And if you don't get to bed at 10 o'clock, let's say 2 days in a row, don't stress about it. Just do your best.
I need to work on.
Right. Because then you'll linger about it, which again is adding to your stress. Just let it go. It was done with. I'm going to work on. I'm going to shoot
for that tonight.
Right. It's done. Tonight I'm going to do it.
Well, I do also want to talk about improving our sex life though, because No.
What's there to improve?
No, something that has improved. So I have made some changes in diet and different things. And I brought this up to you a little while ago. I've been incorporating more what I had mentioned earlier, talking about pro-metabolic healing. So bone broths, gummies, getting in really good protein. You need to be eating shooting for 30 grams of protein right away in the morning, all these different things. Trying to stay hydrated, doing adrenal cocktails, focusing on different things of my health. And I believe, and I asked you about it, and I think you agreed with me, that my sex drive has changed.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Gotten better.
Yeah, definitely.
Right. And that, for me, is huge because that also, then sex doesn't feel as much as a chore. So when I get that feeling of overwhelm, because there is a stage.
How detailed can you get?
On here?
Yeah.
You can talk about it.
Well, because you worded it differently when we talked about it.
I was talking about vaginal dryness before with
you.
Which has changed with my diet. That's improved. So that's something that I feel like I've had for a while. Since at least Jovi, for 2 years.
Which is fascinating.
Right.
But you can talk about it because...
that my hormones have changed. Well, because that was, I wouldn't say an issue in our sex life because we always worked with it, but it's hard when our bodies are just very different. And it's like, okay, I don't think that you're into this because there's no response down there. And I'm like, I can't control that. It's just dry. That I don't know what to tell you, but taking these steps in working on my health, that has changed
Yeah.
for the better. What, are you uncomfortable?
No, I just
Is that
thought
why
of
you're
something
wiping
very.
your brow?
I thought of something very inappropriate, and I was like, "Don't say it."
Don't say it. This is a mom podcast. There might be children listening. I don't know. I just said vagina. So, but that for me is big because I can really resonate with the moms feeling after birth not really having that drive. But there's so much that goes into it. I think the communication with your partner and having your needs outside of physical needs being met is so important. And then the health aspect. And it's so, I keep using the word hard. I need to work on something different. It can be difficult to take care of yourself in that season, but we really need to focus on that. Learning to lean on your community for more. If you don't have one, building one and finding those people that you can be like, hey, I need help, and getting that, because taking care of yourself is so important. And I think it's so important when it comes to your health and then even your marriage. Like, we're huge on the best thing we can do for our children is to have an amazing marriage. And having a good sex life is a big part of that.
Yes, it is.
So, yeah, it's really cool to see that some of the changes that I've made in my diet and nourishing myself has affected our sex life.
Yeah. Now that you explain it that way, yeah, it is. I have noticed. Yes.
I'm not like.
Not that you were ever like repulsed by me, but
no,
now it's just like
I always put out.
I'll sneeze and you'll be like, ooh.
That was hot. That's hot.
Get over here.
You can do that on me if you want. So that's been one thing that I've incorporated with preparing our bodies to try to conceive, is really making sure that I'm nourished. So getting in good protein in the morning. Also doing some adrenal cocktails, which is something I'll talk about more in a later episode. And trying to stay nourished, because that was something that I kept telling him, like, I feel like I'm not nourishing myself enough. And one thing that we don't realize a lot is we're under eating a lot sometimes, and we don't even notice it, because under eating doesn't just look like a really thin person. Under eating comes in all shapes and sizes. And so a lot of times you're like, well, I can't be under even eating because, like, my natural weight now is more than what it was 10 years ago. But I also wasn't nourishing myself.
Is this an episode that's coming out?
Yeah, we'll talk about it later too. But you
I'd
can
be
elaborate.
very curious. No, I'm wondering, does it mean like just under eating, meaning like you're not eating the correct foods?
No, it's even like calorie wise. Like, how many diets? I can tell you so many diets I've been on in the past where they're like, well, if you eat 1,200 calories a day, and it's like, whoa.
But aren't we the country that eats the most?
Crap. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure. We're also stress eating the most.
Yeah.
And that's a big part of it. I mean, even if you look at our ingredients lists compared to other countries, there's so much that goes into it. We're also way more sedentary. A lot of other cultures walk places. They're out. They're, even in, where was it? The Netherlands, babies nap outside in the winter. Like, this is something that other cultures do and we don't.
Yeah, that 500 hours. I'm excited about that one.
We sit inside and we are sedentary. There's so much that plays into all of that too. We definitely overconsume. But when you're eating the right foods, it's different. Like, I was listening to this one podcast that was super, super interesting, and it's a guest that we'll have on, but she found out, like, she was way under eating, and like for where she was at in her season of motherhood, she needed to be eating almost like 3,000 calories a day.
Wow.
And once she was doing that, she felt healthy again. She's like, I felt nourished. I had energy for my kids. I had energy to get things done. I was sleeping great. Like, and it wasn't just, I need 3,000 calories. It was good protein. It was healthy fats. It was the right calories with the right foods, good veggies, fruits, all of that. So it's super interesting when you figure out what feeling nourished can feel like. I've definitely felt a shift in my energy. It doesn't mean that I still don't get overwhelmed, because I do. I think over the holidays I was, for sure. But I think making some of these changes, I feel like I'm more nourished. Like I have more energy for you.
Yeah. Yeah, I've noticed the change.
So something else we're doing is incorporating more organ meats in form of supplement.
Yes.
So Vito knows by
like
the
9 of them a day.
12 supplements that I make him take every single day. You're welcome.
Yeah, okay.
And I still do try to like shave beef liver into ground beef when I remember, in doing that as well. So something else that I recently did was a hair mineral test, which I'm going through a course right now working on that. And based on my results, it showed that I'm living in fight or flight mode, which can be very common for this season of life. But when you learn, again, to work with your body, how to replenish the minerals that you need, it can change everything. So I'm hoping that once I dive more into that I get a little bit more energy.
Mm-hmm.
The big one for me is putting the phone down at night.
Yeah. Well, at what time? Because you got to have a couple hours, you know?
Right. Well, I think we should go back to just like 7:00 our phones are down.
I'm down. It is tough.
Because you've been bad at it.
Well, it's tough when you're like running a business and you have things got to get moving at 5 a.m.
I get it. If your dad or your brother texts you, you can respond.
Right. Yes.
But you don't need to be scrolling.
I loved that month. When we did it that month, I thought that was great. We played cards more. We did watch movies.
Yeah, we would like snuggle
TV.
and watch a movie together, but not having a screen right in front of your face is important. So another one is movement. So it's really interesting how, I guess like one thing motivating me before this pregnancy is I didn't work out tons before my last ones. And I feel like I really need to before this one. And I'm not saying I'm going to go like work out hardcore, but I really want to focus on some strength and some certain muscle groups because of the issues with my sciatica that I've had, and that I want to be strong for carrying my children. I felt very weak with my pregnancy with Tula and after.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want to feel that going into this next one.
Nice. I'm pumped.
But also strength changing. So you taking care of your health for men and women, strength training changes the epigenetics of your genes that you're passing on. So if you're not taking care of yourself, like the research and science and studies are there to show that when you're eating a certain way, you are setting your kid up for diabetes later in life. You're setting them up for different diseases, heart disease later in life. But when you are healthy and taking care of yourself and working out, that changes their genes and they're more likely to have less struggles. And I just find that so interesting because it's like not even like how you're feeding them once they come out. It's like predisposition genes.
Right. The genes that are passing through the sperm and the egg.
Right. Affect that later on.
Yeah.
And we both have things in our history, in our family history, that we have the power to change.
Yeah, absolutely.
That we can try to not pass down certain things. Obviously, nothing's perfect. And we can manipulate the genes that we've gotten passed down as well.
Right.
So it's not like just because this kid has a predisposition for this, yes, but then there's certain decisions they can make in their life to change some of that. So it's super interesting how all of that works. Sperm health is very important. What?
No, nothing. I agree. I think sperm health is under talked about.
It's very
and I
much
know
under
you've
talked about.
done an episode or two about it. I think guys, come on, you gotta do your part, and I think with me, the fight or flight, I definitely have to work on my stress.
Yeah, your anxiety, for sure.
Because just got so much, I wake up in the morning, it's like under pressure. You dropped the bomb on me. So I got to work on that.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously just not stress eating.
Mm-hmm.
Because I will crush I will crush a, and
That's
it's
why
a Girl Scout cookie.
I didn't want to order those Girl Scout cookies. No, I'm going to hide them from you,
No, you're
babe.
not. No,
Yes,
you're
I am. And
No.
that's like I don't want to have
They
to hide
usually
things
come
from
in
you.
the spring.
She's hand delivering them in 2 weeks.
That's not going to happen.
Okay.
They usually come later. We'll get pregnant, and then I'll crush them.
Oh my gosh.
It'll be like a treat.
An entire box of Girl Scout cookies.
Yeah, Thin Mints, please. I could eat an entire sleeve in one sitting.
I know.
No problem.
Yeah, I know, because that was a problem last time when I put some in the freezer for myself and they were gone.
But that's the best when you freeze with Thin Mints.
Yeah, you're the one that told me about it. And I'm like,
Yes.
oh, I'll put some in here for myself. Nope.
Gone.
I have to hide them, and I don't want to have to do that. Just be considerate.
See, that's the thing. You think that I'm being inconsiderate.
Yeah.
And what you fail to understand, even though I've tried to explain multiple times, it is out of my control. Okay. Yeah.
So this is something that Vito's working on because he does stress eat, and it's ridiculous because he does have abs and he doesn't look like he eats the way he does sometimes. And so it's really frustrating though.
But I think, like you were just saying, I think I'm undernourished. So my
You
body,
are. I tell you
body,
that all the time.
right?
You'll
so
come
that's
home
why,
and eat dinner, and I eat more than you, and I didn't work all day.
Yeah.
I'm like, what are you doing? You need to nourish yourself.
Yeah. So no box of Girl Scout cookies is safe
So
in
he
front of me.
won't eat that much dinner, but then eat a dozen cookies. No.
They are my comfort food.
Eat nourishing foods. And you'll be better. It doesn't, if you want to enjoy some cookies, do that. That's fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's definitely, no, the Girl Scout thing is, we'll cross that bridge when we get there. I feel, nothing.
It's going to be great.
No,
be great.
babe, get it together. You have to impregnate me with some good sperm.
All right.
Okay.
Deal.
So I also wanted to share, so Sophia Pavia came on before about choosing the right provider. Her Instagram account is ttc.fertility, and she's somebody that I follow for a lot for trying to conceive. And this week I actually go to see our midwife, and I'm going to ask her to run some labs for me. And the labs that I'm getting are key nutrients, B, D, folate, magnesium, some sex hormones, thyroid, and adrenals, but not just the regular panel. You have to deep dive into TSH, T3, reverse, T3, T4, anti-TPO antibodies, cortisol awakening response, all of that. So if you want to know more about like what labs to get, Sophia is a great resource. So I will link her Instagram in the show notes for you guys, because basically everything she posts I follow and do because she's awesome. And she's really passionate about helping women try to conceive. So these are just, and she's shared her journey before about how she struggled and her doctors wanted to wait. And she's like, no, run these different labs for me, see what I need to work on. And sometimes you have to push and advocate for that as well. So I'm excited to see like where I need to work on a little bit. Because I'm the same as you, Vito. Like we are in different forms, but I'll be healthy, go on like a healthy kick, and then I'll just eat like complete crap. And it goes back to that eating the cake thing. It's like, if you want, it doesn't have to be all or nothing. Nothing's all or nothing. It's you can, what?
For me, it is.
I know. I know it is. And you need to switch that. It's like, instead, you want a couple of cookies, have a couple of cookies and enjoy them. But instead, we're like, I'm just going to eat the whole sleeve so that they're out of the way and they're not here, and then I'll be fine. Right?
Right. Well, not only that, but then it's like if I eat a couple cookies, I eat them every day. Then I need them every day. It's like, this is not funny. I need to be able to just like on Saturday and Sunday, yeah, I'm going to have a slice of coffee cake or something. Right? Yeah, I'll have a couple cookies. And then the rest of the week, I don't need it.
Yeah.
But I can't. It's either I'm crushing this entire box today and I'll do it again in a month. Or I need 4 cookies a night. So like, what's better?
Right.
Neither.
Right.
Right?
Yeah. And the thing is too, I mean, but you also know, like when you cut out sweets,
I feel great.
you'll have like a piece of chocolate before bed and you're fine with that.
Yeah.
You'll have like rip off some of a dark chocolate
and then
bar and you're
then
good.
I treat myself one day and then it's months. and then I have to start over again because it is so comfortable for me. It is my comfort.
Right. And it doesn't have, that's the thing. It doesn't have to be all or nothing. And it doesn't have to be this whatever. It's, have
I'm
a few
working on it.
cookies. No big deal. But I do the same thing. That's what I'm saying. Mine's not as extreme as yours, but like I do the same thing. And I think a lot of that, for me at least, is that kind of diet culture that was ingrained in me growing up. And you can break that. It's like if you want to enjoy something, have a little bit, enjoy it.
Yeah.
You don't have to eat the whole pint of ice cream. It's fine. So, and I feel like I go through seasons where I'm really good at that. And then obviously there was just the holidays, but also then not beating yourself up either.
Yeah.
So, and that's something I also struggle with.
Yeah.
Is me being like, we completely wrecked everything. Now we have to start over on our health completely. We can't conceive for another 6 months.
Yeah. No, that's not going to happen.
It might. I don't know when I'll be ready, babe.
Well, I'll let you know.
Okay. Vito's sometimes ready now, but sometimes not.
It scares the crap out of me to be outnumbered.
Mm-hmm.
One was like, oh, I'm nervous, but I'm excited. Let's do this. And then 2 were like, yeah, let's do it. We got this. Let's do it. You know, it was kind of rough with 1, and then 2, it's like, holy crap. We're going to have another one?
Mm-hmm.
And then we're going to be outnumbered?
Yeah.
And now the first one is like copping an attitude.
Mm-hmm.
We have to deal with that.
Lots of opinions.
Along with a screaming newborn. It's like, oh, do we really
We've
want to do
never had
this?
a newborn that just like screamed.
Yeah,
though.
but we could.
That's true. That is very true.
So then it's like, we really want to do this? And then it's like, yeah, let's go for it.
Yeah,
Let's
we'll
try.
see.
You've had so many people on that have like 5, 6 kids.
Okay.
It makes no sense to me. I don't understand how they do it.
Oh, okay.
But they do it. They've figured it out.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So let's
One
go
lady
for it.
I had on a while ago just either had her 7th or 8th.
Jeez.
I don't remember.
That's too many.
But I think I think it's 7th. I think she has 6 boys and then they just had a girl.
Oh, good for them.
Yeah.
That might be us.
This last year. Oh, shit. No way.
If we're blessed and we can continue to have more babies, and like I said, if we have 4 girls, we'll go for 5. And if we have 5 girls, then I'll go to the doctor.
Right.
And we'll get that taken care of because 5 is too many.
Yep.
For me.
Mm-hmm. But if we did have twins, we might be done. Or maybe I'd go for a 5th if we had twins.
Let's see. Well, it's one baby at a time. Let's get our health in order.
But the thing that does scare me about twins is that women over 35 have a higher chance, like a 6% higher chance of having twins. And then if you are over 35 and you're breastfeeding while you ovulate, your percentage for twins goes even higher. And I'll still be nursing Tula while I'm ovulating.
So we legit might have twins.
So we legit have
a higher
chance.
I'm freaking out.
I told you this before, babe. I'm like, I have
6% is not a low number.
No, it's not. I'm trying to find the exact
6% higher, or it becomes 6%. You have a 6% chance. Because if it's 6% higher, well, I guess 6% higher would be still, even if it was 0.01, 6% higher would be 6.01.
So women between the ages of 35 to 40. Oh, geez. No, we don't have 4 or more. A woman at 35 is 4 times more likely to have twins. But like, what's the actual number?
Not 4%, 4 times. Yeah. All right, we're good.
Right. But the odds while you're breastfeeding, while you ovulate.
Do we have twins in our families?
I do.
I think I do too.
We do. But like mine are pretty far away though. Mine was my grandma's sister, had a couple sets of twins, and I think my grandma's aunt did.
My aunt did, but only one made it.
Mm-hmm.
And then I don't think
both my sisters were pregnant with twins and lost one.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, so you really have it.
But Nikki also gets it from Brian. So, I don't know. Yeah. That's like does scare me. So I'm like, maybe let's get healthy, but not too healthy.
Oh boy.
That would be nuts.
I don't know. Oh boy. we'll talk about it later, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be super wild. But we'll see.
Yeah. Let's just hope for the best.
Well, obviously.
Do what we can. And if not,
I mean, that's what I say. There's so much out of your control.
yeah. Well, that was one thing we talked about. We've talked about extensively the amount of billions of things that have to go perfectly for a baby to be born, and then the billions of things that have to go perfectly each and every day for a human to just exist. Like the perfect combination of nitrogen and oxygen and all the elements in the air, and like the perfect functionality of your circulatory system and your respiratory system, and everything is working perfectly. And there's so many billions of things that have to go perfect just for us to be alive.
Yeah. It's wild.
It's so wild.
But so you're 4 times more likely over 35, and women who become pregnant while breastfeeding are 9 times more likely to conceive twins.
So 36 more times?
No, it doesn't include both.
Oh.
But it's like, it's like, I think it's like 12% more likely or something, which is a big number.
High, very high, yes.
For me. And I don't plan on weaning Tula until she's lactating mothers 12%. I'm going to stop looking at these statistics, but did you just say till she's 18?
Yeah.
Nah, till she's speaking full sentences. We'll see. It's super interesting to me because now she's definitely different than Jovi. Like Jovi did bite me when she was teething a couple times, but not like Tula. Tula bites me, laughs, and goes, and then does it again.
She was belly laughing on the plane when she was doing it.
Yeah.
She thought it was hilarious.
My reaction. Yeah. So I'm like, oh, we're in for it with this one. But a lot of people are like, oh, they're biting you. That means that they're old enough to wean. And I'm like, not for me.
Not really. Who says that?
A lot of people.
Nah.
But to each their own.
Nah.
Not for me. I mean, Jovi still asks to breastfeed sometimes.
Which is
I don't
weird.
let her.
Yeah.
Because I was I went to a baby shower today, and your cousin Lisa was saying when she weaned, her kids never asked again. I'm like, Jovi asked every single day for 3 months to nurse after I weaned her. So part of me feels bad, like I did it too soon, but honestly, I couldn't keep doing both.
No, you did not do it too soon. I wonder if because she was in the NICU the first week, if she uses it as like a connecting thing.
Yeah, I feel like I was telling you that. I felt like I used it as a connecting thing too.
Yeah, it's all interesting stuff.
So yeah, well, I'm really excited to take you on, everyone listening, on this morning Chava journey. If you didn't get it, morning Chava is like a play on morning Java, you know, just in case you didn't get it. I feel like people will, but I'm really, really excited for this year, and I'm really excited to take you on this roller coaster ride of life and learning and growing, and the amazing guests. I'm already so grateful for all the content this upcoming year. So I'm really excited for this. Thank you, babe, for coming on the podcast.
Congratulations.
Thanks.
You're awesome.
You're so nice.
And you do great work, and you're very passionate, and you're very loving, and I love you.
I love you. All right. And I love all of you listening. It really means so much to me that each week you choose to listen to this podcast, that you take time out of your busy schedules, out of your life, to show up here and to learn and grow with us and to support the podcast. So I just want to thank all of you as well. All right. Have a great week, and I will talk to you next week. Bye.